You want to save the best of what the society creates. And I think the Garrick was possibly one of the most challenging buildings of its time. All this ingenuity and engineering, and that such a building can grow out of such a humble site is something worth saving and worth preserving. One day, Richard Nickel and I were sitting on a roof taking a break. The building at that point was already stripped. You were seeing this great thing, a structure and how it went together, the complexity of that building. It was like an anatomy of a building, and that left a profound impression on me. In the 50s, a couple other classmates and I, at our lunch hours at IIT, we would go and salvage parts of Sullivan buildings along Indiana Avenue, and near IIT there were quite a few houses by Adler and Sullivan, and that's how I got to meet Richard Nickel, and he was impressed with our diligence. And he kind of admired us and was annoyed by us. So, it kind of created a friendship. I remember being at Skidmore, Owings & Merrill when the picketing was occurring in front of the Garrick, and I made my sign and carried it on my lunch hour and went to the picket line. The understanding of a building, the complexity of this particular building, which was lost in history. It wasn't celebrated, but the Garrick looked terrible. The deterioration. It was hard to believe that it could be a beautiful building. You just didn't, there wasn't that kind of vision that would have taken to save that building. It's a tragedy. It's sort of like, but what can you do? I mean, it's better that somebody has some reminder of the atrocities of society destroying its history, and you want to save it in some form or other. Or you want to hold on to whatever you can. Ironically, my last day of work at Skidmore, Owings & Merrill was January 31st. The Garrick was slated to come down, and Richard Nickel said, "The city is hiring me to salvage ornament. Would you join me?" And I said, "Sure." And then my friend David Norris, who was my classmate but still hadn't completed his schooling, said yes, he could work between classes. So the three of us ordered scaffolding and just started setting up scaffolding, and we reached pretty high. I mean, we had, I think, 3 scaffolds on top of a balcony, and we'd climb up and go higher and higher, and I'm reaching to the very last one. We methodically start saving, pulling the building apart and the ornament. Everybody admired the fact that I could, shake a terracotta block and loosen it and pick it up and move it. I mean, it didn't take a college education, which I had, to do that sort of thing. If you're a scrapper, you're a scrapper. You just do those things. This building was important in the preservation movement. It's the first that was, nationally publicized as coming down. It was first when picketers were really demonstrative and, went out on the street and telegrams and so forth. And so this is a pivotal building in the whole restoration movement. I mean, this started the Chicago Heritage Committee. The Heritage Committee dragged on until the stock exchange, and the momentum to save the stock exchange was much more organized, much more official than it was for the Garrick. And sadly, they lost that, but that started the Landmark Preservation Council, and that organization has been successful in preserving buildings and being advocates of preservation. I'm just a preservationist at heart.